Hello, in today's short IELTS video, I want to say something about setting up good study habits and having a good routine. I've mentioned many times before, and I'm sure you've heard it, that what you focus on improves. Therefore, it's important that you keep track of all the areas where you may be having challenges. And that doesn't mean just listening, but it might be just one type of listening question, or one type of reading question, or one type of task. And it's important that you zone in on these smaller areas, because the more you do that, the better your overall score will be. And another thing I keep saying is, remember, marathon runners do not run marathons every day. They work on different aspects of their running so that they can improve the whole thing. And any skills-based learning needs that kind of approach. So I've put together a few notes on effective study and how to set your routine so that you will be successful in your study and you'll see your scores improve. So here are the ideas that I've put together, if I can find them, and we'll just go through them together. So it is the key to success. It's being systematic, having a process, and not being random. Being too random and just sitting down saying, okay, what am I going to do today, means that you're going to be always missing parts of your practice that are going to be key to improving your band score. So setting a good, effective routine means you won't miss anything and your chances of improving your score will increase. So the ideal solution for a good study plan: little and often. It's a skill. Language is a skill, and all the things in the IELTS are testing skills. So it's much better to do perhaps half an hour or an hour every day than 4 hours on one day every 2 weeks. So little and often works far better. This is because your skills will build steadily. And so regular attention to those skills will help them to become stronger and improve. And then you'll find that your progress goes forward. Remember, language learning doesn't go up in a steady trajectory. There are some plateauing. So it goes up, it plateaus, but you have to keep vigilant and keep practicing. And then suddenly you'll see it go up again. So you might be getting 25, 26 out of 40 in your reading, and keep practicing. And then one day you'll realize, oh, now I'm getting 28, 29 every time. And then you'll be getting 30, 31, and then 33, 34. So be patient, keep practicing, and watch it as it plateaus and then goes up again and then plateaus. When it plateaus, don't lose heart, just keep practicing. Be systematic. So set yourself a regular program, daily, weekly, monthly, however long your practice is going to be before the exam. Make sure you cover everything. Even if your listening's fantastic, make sure you do it now and again, because you don't want that skill to slide. And focus on the bits that are not working. So don't do a reading test every time. If you have a problem with headings, do some headings. If you have a problem with matching, do some matching. It's not necessary to sit down and do a whole test. That will take you an hour, more than an hour perhaps. And you may not have that time. It's better to spend that hour doing maybe 15 minutes of reading, 15 minutes of writing, a little bit of listening, and then some practice on part 2 speaking. And then in that way, you're making sure that you're getting everything done regularly. And it's okay to take days off. If you really feel that you're saturated, that you've done enough, that it's getting on your nerves or it's giving you a headache, just take a day off. It's a good idea to do that now and again, because a lot of learning needs to bed down. It needs to get into your memory. It needs to get into your muscle, if you like. And so it's fine to take a day off. Okay, unless you've got a strict deadline, allow things to improve steadily through regular practice. Fit your practice around your other commitments. If you're working, that's important. IELTS has to fit around your work. Your family is important too. IELTS has to fit around that, but balance everything so that you have time for yourself to work on your IELTS skills. Find a quiet place. I see this quite often where people are trying to study with their children running around them, or studying while they have colleagues around them. It's much better to find a quiet place where you can study without a lot of distractions. And find a time. So if you're too tired, it won't be effective. If it's too late, it won't be effective. You know, you might need a break after work before you can sit down and focus. So suitable time, suitable quiet place. Now, keep a good record. A learning diary is a good way, and it can be just a notebook, or you can do it online. And then each day when you've done your practice, just record what went well, what didn't go so well, what do you need to look at again. And if you do this, then each day when you finished your study, that will tell you what you need to focus on the next day, and it makes it easier to plan. Okay, so I said that it can be handwriting is good, because handwriting helps to put things in your memory. That physical, it's been proven in research that that physical thing about writing by hand helps it to go into your memory better. So do something handwritten. And remember, this test is a test of reading, it's a test of writing, as well as listening and speaking. So you have to read in the exam, and you have to write in the exam. So don't make everything video. It's not going to help you so much with the process. Okay, so make the notes. How was the session? How did you feel? Did you feel that you did well, or did you feel that your score was not as good? Did you feel you understood better? Be honest. What was good? What needs to improve? And then that, as I said before, informs the next session. So then the things that you need to do again, put them down for your next session. Here's an example of one that I have, and it's a study plan that I have created for students, and I filled this in as an example. So here we have a week of work, and during that week all of these points were covered. So if we look at the reading, the focus was on yes, no, not given, and 2 exercises were completed. The first one achieved 2 out of 6, the second one 4 out of 6. There's a feeling that this needs to be reviewed, because although it improved, it's still not 6 out of 6. And therefore, I'm planning to go back, check the rule, check the method. If you have a teacher, you can check with the teacher. In my IELTS step-by-step course, we have a Facebook group which is private and only for the people on the course. And this is the place for those students where they can ask these questions about any issues they're having. And then I've decided I'm going to do this later in another session. Again, okay, so the listening, I did a whole listening test and I completed it, and the score was 28 out of 40. And the issue was the multiple choice questions, they were all wrong. So I now need to go back and look at the rules or the strategy and check the transcript so that I can make sure I know what went wrong. And then I'm going to try another listening with some multiple choice questions. Okay, writing, I did task 1. I completed 1 task 1. I'm not absolutely certain how it is because I haven't got anybody to mark it yet. And I'm going to review it in my next session after the teacher has corrected it. So I'm going to give it to my teacher, and then in the next session, I'll go through it with the teacher. But in the meantime, I can look at some models for this data. So whatever it was, maybe it was a line graph, I can look at some models which will help me. Okay, the speaking I did in this week was part 2. I watched four videos on YouTube that were at band 7, and then I tried to copy what happened in these videos and record myself. And it seems to be better. Having watched the videos as models, I then tried to do that, and I think it's improving. So I need to do more of this, more watching, recording. And I'd like to see if there are any specific strategies for part 2, which I can get. And then in my next session, I'm going to try some part 1 and some part 3, probably using the same method. I also did some vocabulary. I specifically looked at vocabulary for graphs, and I learned 6 new words and put them into sentences, and I'm happy that I know how to use those words. So now my next job is to use those words in a task 1. And then I'm going to learn another 6 words perhaps later on in the next week. And grammar, I checked articles. I did 2 exercises from the grammar book, and I got 4 out of 6 correct, and then the second one was 6 out of 6. And so I think I understand how they work and what to do, but I need to just keep using them so that I don't make any more mistakes. So I'm going to try some more exercises. That's my decision. And then I'm going to try and check my articles as I write the nouns in my essay. And then finally, I wanted to try something on timing in reading, and I can now do one passage in 25 minutes. But when I did that, the score dropped to 24. So I need to worry about getting a higher score and not worry about the time. So next time I'm going to do it, get a higher score, but if it takes longer than half an hour, I don't worry. And then I'll do another one next week and try and see if I can improve the score and then improve the time. So that's just an idea of how a study plan like this would work. So stick to your routine, keep monitoring because what you focus on improves, review it constantly, then you'll know if you're on track. Work on small areas that are causing the scores to drop. So you'll know what those are, certain question types, and get help and support if you need it. And as I mentioned before, I have a self-study program called IELTS Step by Step. You can find information on this on my website, IELTSlearning.com. So if you head over to IELTSlearning.com, there is an article on this topic, which gives you a little bit more information. And if you want to find out about the IELTS step-by-step course, where you can get a lot of support with your planning and your questions around IELTS, as well as daily lessons on the different areas of the test, you can find information there on the test, on that program. And I'll see you in the next video.